Hi, everybody. Lee Muse here with Forward Aero Solutions. I'm going to talk about safety and compliance today. We know those are critical components of a successful operation. First and foremost, keeping your employees, the general public we're sharing the roadways with, keeping everybody safe, making sure everybody comes back home the same way they left that day. Second of all, we got the financial impact. Workers' comp claims, insurance rates, equipment repairs, all those things that can significantly impact your bottom line. And those two things apply for many different businesses across many different industries, and especially for trucking companies in general. But the third piece that's specific to FedEx Linehaul contractors is the FedEx scoring program, the SRS or SRI. So anytime you're trying to grow, you're going to be impacted and affected based on your safety score. If you're trying to get a growth opportunity and submit an RFI for that, that's part of what FedEx is going to look at is how you stack up against your peers in that safety category. And secondly, if you want to bid on an assigned run, that's part of the calculation matrix that FedEx has moved to in the last couple of years. So not just relying on total points for that tractor, but also incorporating things like your safety score. And third is even for acquisitions. They're just trying to pick up a couple of runs off another contractor. Seems like a simple process, but we've seen it time and time again where those transfers get denied by FedEx because of the buyer's safety score. So all reasons why that's critical. We also have the compliance side of things. Okay, we don't want to be losing out on runs, which means we're losing out on revenue, which means we're being impacted. We're still paying drivers, still paying truck insurance, still paying truck notes, all those things. We want to be able to put ourselves in the best position possible to maximize our revenue. So not being shut down for something as simple as an expired med card, an expired tractor inspection, anything like that is what we're trying to avoid. So I'm going to spend a few minutes going through the FAST software. The whole goal of the software is trying to consolidate things into one platform as much as possible. So we've brought all kinds of things in there already. Like I said, today's focus is on safety and compliance. So I want to walk you through some of the tools that we have developed through our experience as a line haul contractor, talking with many other line haul contractors that have been doing it longer than we have, talking with people from outside of our business in different industries, and incorporating all those best practices into our safety program and the pieces that make sense into the FAST software. So let's hop in now and start taking a look. Let me walk you through kind of how this is set up. This phone here is representing a driver login through mobile device. Obviously, this screen here is the administrative portal in a desktop view. You can see this administrative portal in mobile as well, but for the purposes of today, we're going to leave that in desktop, and then the driver login will be here in mobile. You'll see that the manager has a few other items that drivers wouldn't have as far as maintenance and things like that. So your BC can help get some of that stuff done on the yard and have quick access to it here. See information about tractors, clear reported defects, and so on. The drivers are just going to have the company forms and the address book. We'll get into the forms here shortly. So this is what the first screen that the driver is going to see. Their main screen is going to have their miles for the week. They can see previous earnings reports here and pull those up. But I know we're focusing on safety and compliance. I'm just going to kind of walk you through how we get there. So you can schedule their runs if you choose to do so. It's going to have this information, obviously what truck they're in, what time they're supposed to show up, what run they're on, all that kind of information. From there, they're going to come over to the next screen. And a new day is going to look like this with everything scheduled, nothing completed. Previous days are going to look like this. If they want to start their trip, click start trip. They verify that information that we pre-populated. If they need to change that, it's very easy to make that change and to whatever it needs to be. And then they select their trailer status. If it's a bobtail move, you can put bobtail move. We ask if FedEx management ordered that bobtail move or if it was something that the TSP needed done. That way you can help manage, what you should be paid on. Singles and doubles, when we build these pre-trip forms, we can select items that should only show up for doubles or should only show up for singles. So, obviously single is going to be the trailer, maybe a trailer coupling connection. Doubles, you're going to need information on the dolly, on the second trailer, anything like that. So you'll see when you get into those forms how you set those up, what kind of flexibility you have to build those out. But yeah, basically the first thing we're going to ask for is this trailer information and destination location information, so that once that's submitted, you already have that information now in the system before they even do their full pre-trip. So that way, if you didn't get paid on a trip and one of your drivers isn't doing full pre-trips as often as they should, you still have the information you need to go back to FedEx for payment. From here, get into the whole pre-trip process. If an inspection was done by the same driver and the same tractor within a 12-hour period, we're allowing you to pre-fill the tractor portion of the form and skip down to trailer. So that way, if somebody's doing a lot of dropping hooks within a shift, that original pre-trip from the beginning of their shift will suffice for a 12-hour period if you choose to do so. You can also pre-fill it and make a single change or have them fill it out every time. It's up to you, but we found, we thought it was worth it to cut down on that to help make this manageable for the drivers to do as well, so that you're not always fighting that battle with them. So once, it's pretty self-explanatory. We've got some photos, we've got a checklist style here. You can pass all, you can do them individually. Like some other inspections you've probably seen electronically before. Once that's complete, let me find, just did one the other day. Here, you can view the form. This is actually going to view kind of the highlights of a form. So you can just quickly see, or a driver can quickly see what was previously submitted. Any issues, comments, photos is really what we're limiting this to. If you want to view the full form, you can view it or download it, and you're going to see, the photos, what was passed, what was failed, and see the full report here. So we have both options available. From the administrative side, question we get a lot, question we dealt with in our business is, okay, that's great, but I got lots of drivers doing lots of these inspections. What's the best way to know who's really doing them, who needs to be doing more, this, that, and the other. So we, under payroll tools, obviously you got your week over week numbers off the settlement coming in here, some different reports we can run, one of them being this driver summary report, which was built for that purpose. So what we're going to see here is it's going to have paid miles, scheduled miles, claimed miles, which is basically something that was scheduled, or even if it wasn't pre-scheduled, if the driver submitted a trip basically from scratch, then that'll come through as a claimed trip and claimed miles as well. So that's what you're getting there, and then we're comparing that to what we actually saw, number of trips on the settlement, and then we look at, okay, these are the settlement trips, these are how many pre-trip forms we saw, post-trip forms. Looking at the variance here, so you can see, okay, this guy had 30 paid trips but only submitted 12 pre-trips, variance of 12, variance of 20 on his post-trips. We need to have a discussion here and see what's going on. Some of this you'll have to review and just see. 30 trips, that's, a shuttle run basically is probably what we're looking at. So maybe say, okay, well, he does 8 legs per night, and we're just looking for one post trip at the end of that shift. So we expect to see a variance there. So, take that into account. Obviously, the pre-trips we're looking at pretty closely, because we do want to make sure that, that trip was completed, FedEx equipment was checked, all that. So, and then we like having those photos that you saw. Pull that back up with the trailer, trailer information, showing no air gap on the trailer coupling, safety chains connected, pintle hook latched, all that information. I've experienced this. I know other contractors have experienced this where since they were able to provide documentation and they did have an incident like a disconnect in the yard or something like that with a dolly, um, the more information you can provide to FedEx and show that, hey, I do have a safety program. I do require drivers to do this. The driver took the time to hook up and take all these photos. So we think he did everything right, and we think this is very likely an equipment failure. And we've had them actually take that information, do their investigation, and come back and overrule that in the contractor's favor. So that that does happen. I think that's one of the main reasons we like that. Obviously, from a liability perspective as well, if there's any issues, having that documentation up front is going to be vitally important. So now we're looking in the admin view at this form tools. So as you can see, you can import our default forms. Some of the things we like from the safety side of things, we can do tractor compliance checks, which is basically having BCs or whoever's doing it go into each tractor, take photos of every page, just to make sure nothing's out of compliance there. We can do safety incident tracking to say, okay, this guy was in an incident. I want to track that basically against his driver ID so that I have issues with him later. If there's an issue with FedEx, or if we want to look at that when it's time to do annual bonuses, safety bonuses, anything like that. It's just keeping records of any incidents that took place so they're all in a consolidated location. I know that, sometimes things happen. You file it away in your email or in a folder or here or there. And then when it comes time to do, a year or more goes by and then somebody asks, well, did that driver have any issues while he was with you? Could be a lot of different reasons. You need to look at that. So we feel like that's good information to have. Obviously, pre-trips here, you're going to see what was completed, and then you're going to be able to modify. You can drag these around if you'd rather do oil pressure before air pressure, and then you can group them. You saw those inspection forms were kind of in a tiered format, so you can group them that way as well. You can say this should be pass fail, photo, comment, and then this is where you give it a group for those tiered sections. So that's where you modify those. Like I said, fully customizable. We can walk you through that as you're setting up your forms, because once you get them set, they shouldn't take a lot of adjustment other than just deciding to tweak something here or there, add a photo or whatever you might want to do. Another thing we like is this new hire safety review. I'll show you what that looks like for the driver. That's something we're asking drivers to do during the orientation process, or our managers to do with the drivers during the orientation process. So they come in here, first of all, get them familiar with the software and their login, make sure that they can access everything. And then also they come through here, obviously we put their information, and then this is those tiers I'm talking about for inspections. We're using that same process for more of a safety orientation. A piece of the safety orientation, I should say. So we're trying to highlight some of the things here that we feel are most critical, where we see most workers' comp claims, broadly over the industry, and trying to mitigate those as much as possible. That way too, if a driver violates one of these things, it's like, okay, I'll put it in your employee handbook. You've seen it in the FedEx safety information guide. You've seen it here where I've highlighted these things and you signed off on it. So both from the employer and employee side, we feel like it's good coverage. And yeah, basically checking things off. Like I said, you can customize this. We like having these major areas where we see incidents, workers' comp incidents the most, slip, trips, and falls, handling dollies, or standing basically on an elevated surface on a dolly or back of a trailer, things like that. Um, and then obviously ELD requirements is a big one, and pulling trailers off the docks. So, and obviously driving safety is next. And then the general information, we do put a disclaimer here that it's not meant to be comprehensive. It's more of a highlighted checklist for the driver, who trained them and put their FedEx ID in as the signature. So now we've got a record of that over here about who completed that, when it was completed, who trained them, walked them through it, that kind of thing. So we really like that as part of our safety culture to come in up front, show them that checklist after we've gone through everything else with them, just so that they have that fresh in their mind. They know what's most important to us, and they can see it right there in front of them. And then we have documentation showing that that was completed as well. So the next thing is just for driver documents. So driver or tractor documents, we're going to look at drivers first. We can see any documents that are set to expire within the next 60 days. We can send a reminder to the driver that they need to get that updated. Drivers can view their information here, whether it's their CDL or documents for their tractor. All that information is available through their mobile app, and then we can see what's coming up due for expiration here as well. That's what it looks like for the drivers, for the tractors. Not as much information loaded in here, but you can kind of see, cab cars can be coming up in February. That's all information you enter here under your tractor profile, and you load the expiration date here. So appreciate you watching this video. If you've made it this far, we know safety is a key component to success in this business. So like I said, just wanted to walk you through some of the tools and features we have in the software to help you manage that. So feel free to reach out. Website is fx-fast.com. We've got several other help desk articles like this located there, and contact information if you want to get a hold of us to ask a question, schedule a meeting, anything like that. Again, appreciate your time and look forward to hearing from you.